Welcome to the Dawg and Gus Show, now on Feel It Radio.
What's up, Dog?
Not much, Gus. You?
Oh, not much. We have one of our colleagues.
Yes.
Also a musician.
Yes.
Also a gem of a guy, actually.
Yes.
We met him at the show at Class of 91 at Raw.
Saw.
It was close. S comes right after R.
Points for being close.
Touche, yeah. So we have
Mike
from Dawg and Gus.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mike?
How's it going? That's some nice words. I use musician loosely, but I appreciate it. I'll take it. And I'm a bit of a gem. I'm a gem of a guy.
Yeah.
That's what we thought. I mean, God, you came up, you said hello, you were polite,
respectful, all that stuff.
Just a gentleman.
Well, you got to be nice to people out there. When you get out there, I'm getting older, right? If I can't be a jerk anymore. Like when I was younger, you get beat up, and I'll get beat up real easy. So you guys, and I'm like 5 foot like nothing, and you guys were all like 6 feet tall, and I'm like, look at these fucking big guys. That'd be nice.
Did you enjoy the show? It was a pretty good show. That I don't know. You've interviewed Stobie before, and I was like in love with them. I really like them. I don't know what it was, but they had that kind of that energy that I like. You know,
that je ne sais quoi.
That was the first time I've been back to like Saw since it's been renovated like that. I was looking forward to the show because on Ego and Vice, I had 3 of the bands that was playing that night, and I can't get out to every show. I just can't these days. So to get 3 on one bill was awesome, and I was looking forward to all 3 of them. Neon Ghost House are great. Hannah Vig was great. Class of 91, awesome guys, great band, but Stobie that night for me was just like, wow.
Yeah, they crushed it. Yeah.
There's just something about that band, and when they were on the show, I was talking to Kevin, and I kind of fanboyed a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I try to keep things kind of neutral, and you try not to be that guy, but I was just like, I find Stobie is just a very genuinely, naturally easy sounding band to like. They make it sound easy, you know what I mean? But it's not easy. I don't know. I'm gushing again. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. We can gush. I was all over it. I was like, I sent them a message asking what they opened up with, and it was that song "Match" that I really liked. I don't know what like they kind of opened with that, and I was like really into it. And then of course, like you said, Class of 91 and they were awesome, and Neon Ghost House always puts on a really good show. So
Neon Ghost House, that was an impressive show too. It's just the reaction they can, for a young band, they sure can own a room, and it's really impressive. And that Scott, he can sing his guts out. Let me tell you,
his ass off.
Good for them, And I look at like the younger. Like when I was probably their age, I was still doing like Ramones covers, right? Just hitting like 3 chords, and it's amazing how talented. I guess it would be in any generation, but it's just now that I'm noticing now, it's amazing how talented some of these people are. And I was talking to the guys from Guest Room Status,
okay,
and that's their very first band, and it's just I said to them, and they're doing like, the music is amazing. They're super talented. The songwriting is beyond their years, I figure. And the success they're having as a first band, I said to them, first bands aren't supposed to do that. It's like you're supposed to get together, be awful, break up, and never talk to each other again. Right?
Is that kind of like the the template? Is that what you're getting at?
Maybe I'm pulling on my own experiences.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I must have had, well, if that was the model for like the way bands go, I had about 4 first bands.
There you go.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's just we've said that a bunch of times too with everybody that we've interviewed. I was watching I listened to a couple of your episodes today, and I was looking through your episodes as well, and seeing that we've kind of crossed a couple of bands the same. We've interviewed the same people, but
sure.
It's true, the amount of talent in this city, it's incredible. And we're, like you said in one of your podcasts, it's just we haven't even scratched the surface. Like we're finding, like you say, you talk to Stobie, the next thing you know, you're talking to 3 other bands, and they're just as good.
Yeah.
And I just love that about this city now that we're finding all this amazing talent, and that you doing your podcast and us doing ours are trying to promote the hell out of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, really. It's great.
I think the main thing is that it's all for the cause of local. I've been in the local music scene for 20 years. I've played in bands since I've been here. My whole reason for coming to Ottawa way back in the day was I'm from Thunder Bay originally, and it's a great place to grow up, but once you hit like mid-teens, getting closer to the 20s, it's just like there's nothing to do. So we started bands, and it was always the same group of like 5 or 6 people that would just rotate instruments and stuff. And to me, I had a friend that was living in Ottawa, and he kept bugging me. He's like, come to Ottawa, because he was from Thunder Bay. He's like, we'll start the band. It's like we could do it here. Whatever it was when you're 17 years old. But 17 or 18 years old, but it was supposed to be like a stopover, and we were supposed to eventually go to Toronto. But when you get to Ottawa, you get anywhere, you kind of grow roots. And to me, going from Thunder Bay to Ottawa, it was like I moved to California. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So since then, I've just and I would just
you're on the canal, man.
Yeah, exactly. Since I was a kid, I always went to shows, and I always looked up to bands. I remember the first band I saw. Do you guys know the band Tin Constellations?
I've heard of them.
I haven't.
Okay. Do you know Rob Snasdell Taylor? He's in a band called Slow Tom and the Handsome Gentleman, and he's in the band Tin Constellations. The very first band I ever saw in Ottawa is I used to live on Bronson Avenue, and I walked up to Babylon, and it was a band called King Kong, and Rob Snasdell Taylor was in the band. And I remember saying to my bandmates at the time, I was like, that's the band, that's what we got to do, right? And that was just like my set goal. And the funny thing is, it was like 20 years later, I had Rob on on Ego and Vice, and I actually got to tell him, like, you were like my inspiration when I was like, we're probably the same age, but it was just like, you were my inspiration when I was young. And I still remember he had like the Explorer guitar, like, the James Hetfield with the big horn out there and stuff. And
yeah,
he had the sideburns because his nickname is Chops, right? So yeah, it's just, so my inspirations in Ottawa came from Ottawa at that time, because I was from such a small town that always had the same 5 people playing in the same, we'd have to rent like fire halls to put on gigs, little punk gigs and that. So it was like Ottawa was like the big time, and I never ended up going to Toronto. I just stayed the course in Ottawa for all these years.
Amazing. That's cool.
Cool. Yeah. Now, when you say Slow Tom, is that the same Slow Tom that is at the Spaceman Music Center?
Tom Stewart, the one and only. Yeah.
Yeah. I met him when we CKCU started their funding drive for this year.
Okay.
And James LeClaire was playing. I went to see James because he's a friend of the podcast, and I ended up talking to Tom for a few minutes. So yeah, I mentioned that we would look to getting him on in the new year at some point.
Oh yeah, nice. Tom is a what can you say? He's like a legend.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to hear a funny story? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a funny story. Tom, have you ever local? You guys are local. The band Furnace Face, the punk band Furnace Face from Ottawa. That was Tom Stewart's Slow Tom's band back in the 90s. He was the bass player singer for Furnace Face. In Thunder Bay, when I started, when I was in my very first band, it was called I Refuse. It was a punk band. All we did was Bad Religion covers and Minor Threat covers and stuff. There was a band there there was a venue there called Crocs and Rolls. It's still there in some form or another called Crocs, but it was like the center of Canada. There was actually a movie made about it. It's called $5 at the Door. Frank Lafredo is the owner of Crocs, and every band that was ever touring across Canada went through Crocs and Rolls. It's an amazing movie. You should watch it. Kirsten Kozlowski directed it, wrote it, worked on it for like 5 years. I even have a little role in it. Well, I have like a 2-minute little snippet.
Anyway.
Sorry, I'm no. not at all. It's an amazing documentary though about an amazing place, and it's like such a big part of Canadian music in my circles, I guess. But my very first show in Thunder Bay was at Crocs and Rolls, and we opened for Furnace Face, who were touring through Canada at the time. So I met Tom way back in like the 90s, opened for his band, and then all these years later in Ottawa, I ran into him. He was doing sound at Zaphod's. It was the first time I talked to him since way back when. And I said, Tom, and I knew he was in town, like I knew about his stuff and that, and I told him the story, and I still have like a VHS tape of that show, like of my buddy holding the camcorder and stuff. And I told Tom, I said, you have to, I'll lend it to you. You can see it, like all the old footage. So weird how things work in circles and that. So.
Well, does it give you that feeling that Ottawa is a small town, like with a big feel?
Yeah, I think it is now that I've been here so long. I've been here longer I've lived here longer than I lived in Thunder Bay now. So Ottawa, like I was born in Thunder Bay, but Ottawa is my hometown. And yeah, from that day where it was the bright lights, big city when I first moved here, it's a little smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just find that there's so many connections, right? Like you find it obviously in doing the podcast that you've done for now 6 years, I think. So like the you must see like the way everybody kind of is connected in different ways. I find it in every way, like obviously growing up here, and I did live in Toronto for a bit, but then came back and I worked in the bar industry. So you meet everybody goes out, all the musicians and all the people that work in the bars and stuff. Sure. It's like a big thing, but I don't know. I always still, even though there's a million people here, I still feel like it's a small town. Like, it's odd to me, but I think it's just because we know our city so well,
Yeah, I understand that. And I think the Ottawa music scene, and I was listening to your show with Class of 91 on, and Ian said it too. He's like, Ottawa, it's not Toronto, you know what I mean? It's not like you have all these different places to play and just endless people and of bands and stuff like that. It is kind of more of a community like our scene. But the neat thing about it is that there's different sections of it. And yeah, like certain sections all know each other, but other sections kind of don't. Like I'll check out, like I know you drop your episodes on Monday, and I'll always flip over just to see who you have on, and it's amazing, like people who feel like they've been in the music, well, they have been in the Ottawa scene so long, and I'll be like, who's that? And I'll check it out because it's just like, I've never heard of this person, but they've been playing as long as anybody else has, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of neat how it runs. Like even though it's small, yes, but it's still like there's different sections of it, and I don't know. There's still lots to discover. Maybe that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you're right.
I agree with that, because I was scrolling through yours and I'm like, oh, I don't know who that is, and I've never. So, and you also said it on one of your shows too. It's like it must be coming of age here in Ottawa, because now you said you have no want for finding people for your show. Like it's not too easy, but there's such a lot of people, like, it's like, we got to hit this person. We got to get this person. There's so much out there for us to bring in and talk to and promote and stuff that it's just, it's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sorry.
It's exciting though too, when everyone is as excited as you are, right? And being in the Ottawa scene for so long, I've seen a lot of peaks and valleys where pre-pandemic for me at my band Goat, we'd put on a show, and sometimes it was like pulling teeth getting people to come out. People did come out, but you always wondered at like 8 o'clock is anyone going to fucking show up for this thing?
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to see like the younger bands now that came out of the pandemic or formed after the pandemic, they all support each other. Like they'll go to like,
yep.
I have this thing that I always lived by, where it's like you can't exhaust your draw. My thing was always play a couple of important gigs in Ottawa, and then try and book, because we lucky to be in Ottawa because we are close to like Kingston and Peterborough and Toronto and Montreal and all these different places you can play, right?
Yeah.
So my point was, it's just when you exhaust your draw, if you play too much in Ottawa, it's like people eventually saying, well, why should I go see them tonight? They're going to be playing next week. And then it gets smaller and smaller. And that was always the for me, that always made sense. It always added up. But for the following, where everyone just follows these guys, and they've said, they play a lot of shows back to back, but they sell them out. I get it now. I didn't understand it at first, but now I do. And it's amazing that it's just how supportive they are of each other, and that's exciting. That's super exciting.
Yeah, I was telling Gus, I went to the show on Friday night at the Rainbow for a double experience. And it was Almir Jules, who's amazing, and then Sunday Ride Club. Right. But I was telling Gus that it was like other bands were there. Winter was there. Between the Space Between was there. One of the guys from the Escape Society was there. Like, it's just like all these other bands coming out to support local stuff. It's amazing. Yeah. And it's just, and it happens every time.
I find not only are musicians obviously musically inclined to play, but they also like music. So they go out and they support these bands, and like you're saying, it's very communal. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't hurt that all these bands are really good too. It's not
that helps. That helps. Yeah.
It's not like you're going out to kind of just support and be like, they're all really talented and they're all really good, and and they're so accessible now too. It's like with social media and just Spotify and stuff, like. You make a playlist, make a local playlist, and you just listen to it, and it's just like every track is as good as the next one, right? So and everyone's just like really nice, and surprisingly, with the amount of success and like the support they're having, they're all really humble, nice people, and that's all you can ask for, right? It's just like cool people and just I don't know, good conversation, I guess. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Now, we have something to talk about here. I was talking to Gus about it. You guys were talking about golfing on the podcast. And somebody, I'm not sure who said it, but they said, in this industry, we don't have any really good golfers. So I had to tell Gus that because Gus is a very good golfer.
Oh, yeah? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not a very good golfer.
Yeah, so we're definitely in. If they decide to make an Ottawa a music tournament or something.
You weren't supposed to say that, though. You were supposed to go take all their money.
Oh, shit.
Oh, is the golf shark.
Yeah. No. I enjoy it. That's I do play well, but I do enjoy it. I was like 10 years old when they handed me a golf club, and then, I think time in it is the best thing, right? It's like music or anything, right? You just spend some time doing it. And you get better at it, right? And the younger you start, the better.
Well, I guess so. Yeah, I didn't golf for a long time, but then I went through a phase of golf where I had like golf buddies, and we'd have golf weekends and stuff. And my always saying is like nobody I know is very good at golf, and nobody really was. Nobody really claimed to be. It was just going out with the friends and having a few beers, and it was Saturday morning where the grass is still kind of wet, right? Where it's just That was great,
best.
And we used to.
That's where I want to. When I die, that's probably where I want to be.
Right? Oh, we can bury you on one of the courses.
Well, just let me smell the dew one more time.
Yes, man.
We used to rate our golf courses by who had the best egg salad sandwiches.
Nice. That's the best way to go. Of course. Who has the best? Did you find in Ottawa so far? I have one, by the way.
I always liked the Meadows because they had egg salad, but they were on the triangle ciabatta, or the Italian bun. We used to call them triangle sandwiches.
Ciabatta.
Or
the focaccia.
So the Meadows do have very good sandwiches.
Mm-hmm. Meadows is up there.
Yeah. What's your choice, Gus?
The Marshes.
The Marshes?
Yeah.
Hate that fucking course.
Yeah, the course is challenging.
I'll go there and eat an egg salad sandwich. I don't want to play the course.
Absolutely. Yeah, but their sandwiches is money because they give you there's celery in there. There's like a little bit of anyways, we could go on and on.
And it costs you $25.
No, same price. It's all the same. They're all like $15 now.
Yeah, crazy.
I remember they were like $3 sandwiches.
My dad used to bring his own. He would make chicken salad sandwiches, man, and he'd bring enough for everybody. If he was golfing with 2 foursomes, he'd bring 8 sandwiches, and everybody would get a sandwich.
That's a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
I play golf with a guy that's a chef, and he's not like a very good golfer at all.
Doug?
No, Doug's one, but my buddy's Scotty, and he'll bring nuts and wraps and everything. You're eating the whole round. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Pack a lunch.
Pack a lunch or take the bus. That's what my brother always used to say. You pack a lunch or take the bus. And I'd be like, what? Doesn't make any sense, but works. 6 years. So now you're in your 6th year of Ego and Vice. Where did it start? Like, where did you decide, okay, when did you decide it? Obviously you decided 6 years ago, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, Ego and Vice wasn't my first podcast, actually. I had another one called The Ohio and Irish Show, and that was more of a trial basis. I had a friend, her name was Steph, and I don't know. I just, one day I said, I want to start a podcast. I wonder if I could do it. Oh, I know why, because I had a friend in Montreal who had a podcast. Is that what happened? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So... we used, I think the very first thing we did, we used like GarageBand, and all I had was I had a Rock Band microphone because it was the only thing I had with like a USB end, and I just like plugged it into my computer, and I had the rock, remember the game Rock Band?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the microphone I used, and I had a box cheese grater, like where you grate cheese, and I hockey taped the Rock Band microphone to the cheese grater so I could sit at my table and. Yeah, and we'd pass it back and forth. That is unreal. Yeah, we'd pass it back and forth, and over the course of Ohio and Irish, we did probably about a year. I think we did about 40 episodes. And over that year, I ended up going out and getting some good software and like decent microphones, and I started to kind of learn more how to edit and that. And I think the goal was always, I think Ohio and Irish was always, in my mind, was going to be evolve into like a local podcast because I've always been in bands, but I was in a band at the time, and I wanted to kind of just have my friends on who I knew in music, right? And I didn't know how to do who knows how to do a podcast? I don't think there's really any rules to it, right? So you just kind of,
which is what I like about it, to be honest. It changes all the time. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to jump in there.
What does my podcast?
No. Like I find a podcast can evolve, right? Like you can incorporate video and you can incorporate whatever. It's whatever it is, right? I'm just going on what you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah, no, totally, and I agree with that too. I guess my point there too was just I don't know how to do a podcast. I don't know if there was rules to a podcast, so I just I used to listen to a podcast out of Chicago from a guy named Ryan Young. It's called Anxious and Angry. And it was a super, it still is. He's still out there. It's like a DIY podcast, like really DIY. And I just kind of copied his formula loosely, like the way he kind of put it together. And I just kind of evolved it off of that. And I started Ego and Vice in 2017. And I just kind of kept going with it. I don't really have a formula for it at all. Like over the last maybe year, I've really kind of dug into it. Like after the pandemic, I really wanted to kind of jump back on it, but I have no real deadline for myself. I have no real schedule. I kind of like it like that too, because I don't want it to start feeling like a chore or like work. And I like to keep it just small and indie, and it is what it is type of thing, That's what I'm comfortable with. That's how I feel comfortable with the podcast. And my main goal is just to have people on and try and respect the fact that they're like trusting me to, especially if you've never met the people, right? It's just like, oh, want to come on the podcast? And they say yes. So I feel like a responsibility to try to put forth the best kind of product that I can for them, because it's more about them, because they're the ones that are going to play it for their friends and their family and stuff, and I don't want to present them with something that's less than, that doesn't represent them properly, kind of thing. So it's stressful sometimes too to put together an episode, because I feel that, I just, I don't know.
Yeah,
and no, it makes sense.
But the bottom line, it's fun. Like I do it as a hobby. It's like a labor of love. Don't make any money off it. Don't really plan to. It's not really what my podcast is about. It's like some people like to cook, right?
Yeah.
I like to talk. I yap. I was born with ADHD. I'm medicated, but sometimes the medication doesn't really work. But I'm 100 miles an hour. I've been that way my whole life, and I can talk and talk and talk until someone says stop talking, and then I'll try to stop talking. So it was a good outlet for me. It's good for my mental health, and it gives back to something I care about a lot, right? So,
of course. Yeah.
I was just thinking, did we model after anybody, or we just did? Sounds like we did pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I think that art, like with us, it was always, I always visualized once a week, and, until it became, like you said, a little bit more of a challenge, but like it's just actually kind of evolved into one of my more enjoyable things to do in the week for sure.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying too. You kind of want to put out quality as over quantity.
Sure. Yeah.
I obsess over the quality of it too. Like I want the video to be sharp, and I want Dawg will tell you, it's like I have a vision,
He does.
And but yeah, and Dawg too. I mean, Dawg, he sees what he likes to see, and he wants to do certain things. And I don't think you can't take it too seriously, right? Like you have to enjoy, like you said, it has to be enjoyable, and it has to be something like. And for us, both lovers of music, I dabble in the guitar. Dawg's a DJ, but he doesn't play any instruments. But we just love hearing the story that artist and like yourself has to say, and that's kind of where we came. I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah,
really.
for us, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so and you being an artist, like you've been in the Riptides, which is like an Ottawa legend band. And you're like a punk guy. So who are your musical when you were a kid? Like who did you resonate with when you were first kind of evolving into music?
I liked everything when I was young and impressionable. I liked everything my older sister liked, and she was very, very into Corey Hart and Bryan Adams and Platinum Blonde. And
good Canadian artists.
Yeah, and Loverboy, and
I knew that was coming.
Glass Tiger. I have some Glass Tiger vinyl kicking around somewhere. Did I say Glass Tiger twice?
No.
But when I kind of started growing up and branching off on my own, I thought it was really, really rebellious to listen to like stuff like Nazareth and
Nazareth.
Yeah, and like Quiet Riot. That was my first kind of intro. I had some older friends that would listen to that stuff, and it would be like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to Corey Hart, I'm going to listen to Nazareth. So that was kind of like more of a rock and roll thing. And then around grade 7 or 8, I got introduced to a friend who started skateboarding. He was a skateboarder. I started skateboarding with him. I was kind of like a preppy kid. I used to play like junior football and stuff like that, which is fine. You know what I mean? I'm not saying anything. There's two people, anybody can't do that, but I really kind of leaned towards that whole punk rock skateboarder kind of lifestyle back in like the 90s, and it was just, I started listening to stuff like the Dead Milkmen and the Violent Femmes and
Dead Milkmen.
Yeah, Bad Religion was a really big one for me when I heard No Control, which I still think is one of the top punk albums ever.
I agree.
Minor Threat, stuff like that, and then you go back stuff before my time because you kind of start discovering music that came before that, like what influenced this music that I like now. So I would go further back and you'd listen to stuff like you'd go from like Bad Religion to Black Sabbath and move forward from that, and then I would get into weird kind of circles with like Depeche Mode and Joy Division and stuff like that, New Order. Weird phases, right? So it all came from somewhere, I guess. But I started playing guitar. I had a couple of friends that my friend bought a drum kit. Didn't know how to play drums, but he bought a drum kit off his buddy for like $10 and a pack of gum or something. And then another friend.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, great deal. Much. Another friend came over with his guitar, his brother's guitar, and we just plugged it into my friend's parents' like stereo input, blew the speakers. And we had our like first band practice, and I wanted to play the drums, but he's like, I'm the drummer because I own the drums. And I said, what do I do? And he's like, well, you can sing. I said, I don't want to sing, but I sang anyway, and that was like my first band, sort of. One of my first 4 bands, my 4 first bands. Yeah. So. But I picked up guitar along the way, and it was always punk rock. Because to this day, I always make fun of myself, and it's just like I'm the worst guitar player of all time. I've never evolved. I still play the same stuff I played 20 years ago, and I don't want to evolve. I'm comfortable in my own guitar skin. You know what I mean? So it's always been punk rock for me.
Cool.
I can't do cover songs because I feel like I butcher them, so I just turn them into punk songs. You know what I mean?
Yep, we hear you. Now, is there anybody that you've interviewed that you fanboyed over, like you were just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to this person?
Other than the earlier one.
Yeah.
Kevin from Stobie.
Yeah.
Not really, no. I maybe I shouldn't say that I went too fanboy on Kevin. Like, it didn't get awkward in the room or anything.
No, I didn't suspect so. I was just teasing.
Yeah, but I don't think I've no, everyone's been. I think everyone are peers. Like, everyone's friends, right? So I get it. It's all good. But what about you guys? Like, where did you guys meet each other?
Prison.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I did all the tats.
Yeah, he did all my tattoos.
No.
You tell him.
Well, it's funny because we both worked at a restaurant at separate times, and then we met mutual friends through that restaurant. And then, funny enough, it was a golf trip that was annually done, and I met him through
back to lunch.
Yeah, I took the bus, and then we packed the lunch. I packed back then. I was probably packing just a fucking 2-4
and a bottle of something,
some weed.
Yeah.
But then so it was a yearly trip, and then but we went. And we met, and it was his birthday always on that weekend. It sort of fell on that weekend in July, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to get you drunk for your birthday," thinking, I was going to get him drunk, and he's probably a lightweight, yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I made a fatal mistake because Dave could actually really drink back then. Okay. He doesn't drink anymore, neither do I actually. But actually, I had that conversation. But it's like it's funny. Like, I tried to get him drunk on his birthday, ended up under the table. But anyways, during those trips, we always just constantly, music was very much a theme. Dave would make a CD of all things that back in the day, a mixed CD for everybody that people would send him songs, and he'd put it all together. Mm-hmm. And then we'd always talk music, and we always we were in the same car together driving down. So from there, it's sort of evolved as a friendship. And then the podcast came in COVID, actually. It was sort of a discussion. We were kind of both bored. And then we met up and said, what are we going to talk about? Like, Dave's like, what are you going to talk about? And I was like, music, man. What do you mean?
Yeah, we were at the Saint Laurent shopping center, and I was talking to Gus, and I said, I'm going to start a radio show. I want to start a radio show. Yeah. And because I was all gung ho about this. I'm going to make my own radio station. I'm going to play whatever I want to play, do whatever I want to do. And then he looked at me and goes, well, I want to do a podcast. And I was like, it's kind of just, I went, what? And I said, well, and stupidly, I said, about what? Like, we're not going to talk about golf. So anyway, he goes, music. He looks at me like I'm an idiot. He goes, music. I'm like, oh yeah, that could work. And that's how it kind of came. And so I started looking around for a place to do it.
Yep.
And we ended up at Staples, of all places. They had a place there that you could rent to do and we started there. And it was just basically him and I talking.
Oh, yeah, they had a pretty good studio, actually.
Yeah, they got a pretty good system there. And the first 3 or 4 shows, it was just the two of us discussing whatever. Yeah. We picked a topic, we discussed it for an hour. Mm-hmm. And then we got a DM from a guy named Mark from Mecca of Stank, a local band. And he's like, do you interview musicians? And we both looked at each other, and it was like that moment. It was like, yeah. And since then, it's been pretty much what we've been doing every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it evolved from that.
You guys have been busy too. I went back through your catalog, and from day one, you've been really consistent with like releasing episodes. Like, do you know how many you have altogether now?
We were talking about that today.
We're probably around 80 something.
80. I think we're up around 8. We're close to 90. I think.
Yeah. This is season 2. Season 2. We call it the 2. You'll be the 2 with Mike.
Yeah, the 2 with Mike.
That's
from Dawg and Gus.
Yeah, that's a ton of content, like crazy. Like, I'm on 118, but I've been at it for 6 years, right? So that's awesome. That's super good.
That was kind of the thing. Like, we kind of wanted a consistent weekly event.
Yeah, we only did it once a week because that's as long as he can put up with me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just once a week.
Yeah,
for sure.
He smells like you can't smell him right now, but he smells.
I smell good.
Yeah. I find that it's good that you guys, because when I used to do the old podcast when I had the co-host, I found that I was more motivated to do it too, because we would kind of push each other.
Yeah.
And me, I just have to kind of get off the couch and like, oh yeah, I gotta do that. But
I agree with you there. I think it'd be a little bit tougher if we were doing it on our own.
For sure, we do definitely. We'll pick each other up every now and then. You know,
Yep.
like
When it's needed.
I'm sure you went through this too. Like you'd interview someone, or you'd have a discussion, and then you'd kind of question if it was good, or if you had, you know, did you sound like an idiot or whatever. And I would say that to Dawg, and Dawg would be like, no, it was awesome. You were great. Da 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 da. And then he would say the same thing to me, and then I think that's helpful, and then also accountability for sure, because you do want to have consistency. I don't know, it just kind of the way I looked at it. You know, if we're going to do a podcast, we wanted to do it kind of not seriously, but
it's like Mike said too, right? If we're going to do this, we're going to do this right, because it is about the person we're talking to, right?
Out of respect of the artist,
yeah,
for sure.
I mean,
like you hit it right on the head, and I also like the way that somebody mentioned, I don't know who it was, like maybe Dawg can tell me who the artist was that you were speaking to, and they were like, oh, the competition, and you said, no, it's a collaboration. I thought that was the guys from Stobie.
Yeah, you're just kind of
super classy.
Because you mentioned us, and we're like, oh, we just got a a shout out, because you said, yeah, there's other podcasts around, and you're basically talking about having to be a little bit more, step your game up a little bit, because you kind of got a little bit lethargic about it, and then you're like, well, because for a while there it was just you, right?
As far as I knew.
As far as you knew, yeah.
Yeah, I could elaborate on that too, and it was like, I looked around for other podcasts, local music, and for sure there was some. I thought there would have been some, but there wasn't. So I would just kind of go through the motions, and through like I still enjoyed doing it, but I guess with the times as they grow, like as the scene grows, so is everything else around it, right? Everything happens at once, kind of gets bigger as a whole, and yeah, and you guys came along, and I have no real ego to bruise. Ego and vice. No, I have no real ego to bruise. But where I say, like, it kind of did light a fire under my butt a bit, because it was like, oh, okay, cool, right? Let's go.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it's not competition. No. It's like, let's see how big we can do this.
Yep.
It's always been in my mind to give back. Like, here's the thing why I started the podcast and why I did it, is because I can go on YouTube tomorrow and they'll be like, hey, here's a podcast with I don't know, no disrespect, with Rain Maida from like Our Lady Peace, right? And it's just like, I could probably search around and find that podcast from a different outlet, a bunch of different places. But I just saw a band last night called Stobie, and I have no idea who they are. Let me Google Stobie. Oh, they have a local podcast. And you get to learn about something you don't find everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wish when 20 years ago, I wish I had an outlet like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where someone just said, hey, you're a local band. You got to play a pretty good set. You want to talk for 20 minutes? And be like, sure. It's great.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I don't know. I think that's cool. And I think if you guys are doing it and I'm doing it, and like you said, we've only crossed guests a few times, but who cares?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Exactly.
It's more exposure for the bands that are on, because I'm sure we have different viewers or different or maybe some crossover there too, but it's more exposure for the artists. It's more content for us. And it keeps us busy, and everyone's doing it for for fun. Like you said, it's all about fun, and it's all about giving back. And it's, I don't know, what greater thing is there to do than talk about music? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I could do it for hours.
Yeah, well, for sure. That wouldn't be a problem.
No.
Yeah, I think the more the merrier, and the scene is better off with you guys, with me, with everyone.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Stronger in numbers, I think.
Agreed.
Exactly. Now, you have your really good questions that you asked. We have a few. Now, what is your if we're going to go through your playlist on Spotify, what's a song or an artist that we're going to go, Mike, what the hell? Like we'd be very shocked. Corey Hart.
No, I'm not ashamed.
No, not so much being ashamed, but kind of going, I just don't see that in you. You know what I mean?
Something, you know what I really like? I am say I'm okay. I don't know about you guys, but the older I get, I find it harder to find music because I don't relate to music as much anymore. I can't. Well, I can, but I like when you're 20 years old and you listen to music and you hear someone who's also 20 years old yelling and saying, I hate the world and I'm mad at my parents and stuff. It's great. When you're like in your 40s, that music doesn't really move you anymore, right? So my playlist now is not so much new stuff. It's going backwards. And like say I'm at the gym or something like that, I'll put on like Ike and Tina Turner, like Proud Mary.
Oh, that's a good one.
Which is just an amazing song, gets me going every time. But also I love like 80s love ballads.
See, that's what I'm looking for here. This is what we're digging for.
Yeah.
Not necessarily 80s, but just I mean, we are.
You're premising something.
Yes, I am
music,
actually.
Yeah, the music back then was it was like coming out of the 70s, and then with the 80s when it was just like when they started using like all the synths and the
drum machines
and more
and
digital stuff, and it was just this crazy weird music, but it was all kind of fun, you know. Some of it's just cheesy and terrible, but it's not hard to listen to. I find it makes me, you know.
You were mentioning Depeche Mode. They're an 80s band.
Yes, they are.
I love Depeche
So is Joy Division, and
I love Joy Division.
Yeah, all those other bands that he mentioned for
Love
sure.
Will Tear Us Apart.
New Order,
New Order. Yeah, Blue Monday, great tune.
Do you remember Erasure? You remember that band?
Yes, Erasure. Yeah,
I like Erasure. That was good.
Yeah.
I love listening to Dolly Parton. I think she's
nice.
one of the greatest songwriters of all time.
Agreed.
And she's still killing it. You know.
Yeah,
She was just at the, I don't know where she was, but she was in the
football
Dallas
game.
Cowboy cheerleaders. She was like 77, and there was a big thing. She shouldn't be wearing that. So
oh my God!
Can wear whatever the fuck she wants.
Who cares? Like seriously. But is her new album out yet?
Rockstar or whatever it is.
Yeah, because that's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
it's going to be amazing, man.
Covers and duets with other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to
that's too funny.
She did the one with Elton John, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, I think it is.
Nice. That's a great tune.
Yeah, it was good. It was really
very
good.
Yeah. Yeah, she can sing with anybody. Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus,
we love Dolly.
She's a tremendous writer.
Oh, yeah.
We love Dolly.
I respect the hell out of Dolly Parton. And
absolutely. She is so much her own woman that it's
yeah.
And especially in the times when she was like, because she had everything to lose, and she's just like, no, you can't have that. It's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Elvis thing.
The Elvis thing, when she refused to give songs to Elvis, it's like, and you're just starting out. You're not well known yet.
And she looked up to him.
Exactly. Well, he was the king of rock and roll, man. And she was Dolly Parton. Anyway, just a big, an amazing person.
What a babe, too.
Yeah, for me, it's that she actually writes her own songs. She's not she's not created like a pop star who goes out there and they have a team of songwriters and then they push her as the singer of it. She writes everything she does, and she has forever, and that's big respect from my end. And they're all good, and they're good songs, so good for her.
Absolutely. What's
a long way around your question? I apologize.
No, it's fine.
It's cool. Keep it up. I like the question of, usually I ask a musician, what's your favorite venue to play? So I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite venue to play, but also your favorite venue to watch and listen?
Oh, well, that's the thing. My favorite venue to play back in the day was Zaphod's. I really enjoyed that club, and it's a shame that it's gone.
Agreed.
It's different bands though. Like I always loved the Rainbow. I was in a band called Hearts and Minds, and we were more of a rock band. And I loved playing the Rainbow because it just had the best groove, the best vibe, the best energy, the best layout with the balcony and the high stage. And to see a band. Depends on what I'm going for, but if I'm in the right mood, something like the Dom where everything's just packed right in there, band's like right in your face. I love that. So those would probably be my.
Those are some choices.
Good ones. Good venues. I knew you were going to say the Dom as soon as you started saying, then something like grimy.
Yeah, you need something.
I didn't say that.
No, it's I get it. The Targa's like that too, though. It's pretty.
Well, it's in a
tight.
basement, right?
Yeah,
So it's fun. It's got a good energy and stuff. I went there to see a couple of bands. It was fun. I had enjoyed myself.
5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8s, baby.
That's all. Yeah.
I honestly was not impressed by them.
No, but you liked Ichiban.
I liked Ichiban a lot. They were amazing.
Yeah, Ichiban.
Rockabilly band. They were fun.
From Toronto.
Were they Japanese?
2 of them were.
Cool.
So they're from Toronto.
Yeah, but the drummer wasn't. But they were fun. And then the 5, 6, 7, 8s, I just think it was just because of that one song and being in the Kill Bill movie. But I just they were okay. They weren't like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, but it's a fun night out.
Do you know what Ichiban means?
Yes, isn't it Ichiban?
No.
It means number 1 in Japanese.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, one of the teachers at school told me that because he taught in Japan.
Ichiban is number 1.
Baby.
I'm half Japanese, actually. My
Are you?
dad
I saw a little bit of the the Asian in you,
Asian persuasion?
Yeah.
Asian persuasion.
Yeah, my dad was Japanese.
The sexy part of you.
Irish.
Ooh.
Kind of a
That's an interesting mix, Japanese-Irish.
Yeah.
French and Irish he was. So
Ooh.
Japanese. My dad was full Japanese. Full Japanese. Yeah.
Well, that's for because I was like, your last name isn't.
It's Mitani, but it's like Mitani, like Mitani.
But you could pass as an Italian too, you could Mitani.
Yeah, that's because there's an Italian name. It's Milani. It's the same spelling. Just take the cross off the T from Mitani to Milani.
There you go.
A lot of people. Yeah.
Is that how it now works?
Yeah, that's how English works.
Just remove some.
That's why it's so damn confusing.
Take the L and
Take the L out of the lever and it's over.
That's right.
Boom.
I'm curious,
baby.
I'm curious about your favorite venues.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Well,
Après-vous.
the favorite venue that I've never been to that I want to go to is the El Macombo in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
I've never been. I want to go just because for reasons.
Maybe we should ask Ottawa or in general.
Okay.
Oh,
Ottawa?
I thought it was Ottawa, but I don't care.
No, I just threw that out there.
Well, the El Macombo we get because your literally nickname is El Macombo.
Yeah, it was. I kind of changed it though.
El Macombo.
Yeah. So anyway, here in Ottawa, I don't know. I don't want to say I have a favorite. I like the Rainbow since they've renovated. It's amazing. I like Saw. It was my first time there, and I love the space.
Saw's a great spot.
Live on Elgin's amazing. The people that work there are fantastic. I went in there the last time I went in there, and they remembered me from the time before, and I was like,
the owner bartender there is a great guy.
Yeah, they're great. So I think the Redbird on Bank Street's another nice place. We've got some really good venues.
Did you name one yet?
No, I'm not going to name one. You go ahead.
You got to name one.
No,
it's for me. It's Rainbow. It's a Rainbow for me.
Okay, so I'll say the NEC. Just to be difficult.
I'll say the CTC.
Yeah. CTC. There you go.
Exactly.
There we go.
I like LeBreton Flats.
Yeah.
When they do the Blues Fest.
Have you heard of it? No. What's it all about?
The Blues Fest, bro. I love when they call it the Blues. My mom will call it the Blues Fest.
Like you're doing the you're doing the marijuana.
Just Blues Fest.
It's like the marijuana.
Are you smoking the reefer?
The reefer. I like what they're doing this year with the Blues Fest. Is kind of like they're leaking some of the bands now. Instead of having the whole line, most of the lineup,
Motley Crue, really?
Tyler Childers would be awesome.
Tyler Childers, I can't wait for, but Motley Crue.
And what's the other one? There's another one that they announced called Talk. I think the person's name is or something.
Yeah,
July Talk?
No, not July Talk, just Talk.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I have no idea who this person is.
What are your thoughts on Motley Crue? I don't mind if you listen. I like some of their music. But I just think
Too Fast for Love and Shout at the Devil were great records. They're really good.
Yeah, but at this point
now it's just it's sad. Not sad. That's awful for me to say, but it's just stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's how many times can you retire and come back? And it's just a cash grab. And there's all that stuff about backing tracks and stuff. I don't even care about that stuff. It's just what do you expect? You know what I mean? But don't charge $1,500 a ticket. I don't know. I just think it's there's better usage of our Blues Fest time, I think. But all the power to them. I won't say no.
No, I don't disagree with that. I won't be going to see Motley Crue.
No.
Depending on who else is playing that day. I may go see some other bands and stuff, but I
just don't think Vince doesn't have the chops anymore.
He doesn't have his voice is done.
No.
So
too many cigarettes.
That's just our opinion, but I mean, it's like, but imagine being the Blue Fest organizers trying to figure out, like, can you imagine how much of a, like, logistically that is to do? Like, who we can get this year? Who's touring? Who's doing this? Who's doing, like,
well, it's timing. Yeah. A lot of things are timing and
so
timing the right person and such.
I think Motley Crue is just, I don't know. Just seems odd. Seems like an odd choice.
Well,
and they probably paid a fortune for them too.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, it's
they'll make money. That's for sure. People are going to go.
But to see how much the tickets are for that one day,
I think they'd probably still always be around $75 as the high end for the Blues Fest.
Anyway,
but I think it's more people will go for the train wreck of it all. No.
Yeah,
maybe.
Everybody likes a good car crash, you know.
Well, there's some people I've seen on Facebook that were really excited, and others that were just like, meh.
I'm really not. I mean, like you said, I think we're on to the fact that there's so much better out there, like newer artists, and there's some sick bands out right now.
I know that should be getting especially in, even the local stuff. Like, we should be getting more of our local bands.
Well, we'll all go. It's just for headliners. Unfortunately, you're not going to have like the local bands headline.
I know, but I'm just saying that
because again, they're trying to make money.
Yeah. So. Oh, I know they are. Yeah, it's a cash grab. So why don't we bring Kiss back because they owe us a show?
Yeah, you missed that show. You had good seats for that show.
Fucking had amazing seats.
But that's another band that's sort of.
Too, eh?
Yeah.
He's sick. Paul Stanley was sick, I guess.
He had the flu. Well, we were in the 100s, man. Like, we were like,
yeah, you were right there, bro. We were getting a sticker. Fuck.
I was.
Listen, we ask a question every show. You probably know this, but we like to have a little competition. It'd be cool to go back and just sort of figure out who's leading.
You have to listen to every show to find out to tally it up.
Yeah. No, just ask the question like on our Instagram or something.
There we go.
So 80s or 90s music, sir?
Well, I've already exposed some of my 80s enjoyment, but I'm a 90s kid, so I got to go 90s. It was when I really started discovering music on my own, and I loved that decade just for being young and stupid, and the music was. I know they talked
awesome.
About, was it 91 where it was like Nirvana and Guns N' Roses and Metallica and Chili Peppers and all that stuff. It was that year, right, where everything came out. For me,
within 8 weeks, within 8 weeks of each other.
Yeah, for me in the 90s, every year was like that. Like I just like I was talking about earlier, where I just kept discovering music. That was when everything talked to me, right? So, and it's never been the same through the 2000s, the aughts, and the teens and stuff.
Yeah,
I like music, but I've never found music like I did in the 90s.
There you go. That's a good, honest answer.
Yeah. So like, Nevermind, 10, Bad Motorfinger, Blue Lines, Out of Time, Gish, Screamadelica, Blood Sugar, Sex Magic, Actung Baby, Loveless, Metallica's Black Album, Leisure, Arise, The Low End Theory. By the way, that's a Tribe Called Quest. One of my favorites, if not my favorites. Bandwagon-esque, Use Your Illusion 2 and 1, Soul Cages, Diamonds and Pearls. Prince.
I know who that is.
Roll the Bones, Blessed.
Who's Roll the Bones?
Rush, bro.
Oh, no kidding.
Blind and Angel Rat, like all 91 album releases. Like, that's insane. That was such a good year.
Great decade.
Don't even get me into the Tupac albums.
Okay,
that were released
from now on, we're not interviewing anybody that's younger than 45.
No.
Because I am not. I think we don't have to go back and tally. You're crushing me with this 90s versus 80s. I'm pretty sure I'm being crushed.
Well, it's it is what it is. Come on.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, you never know. It might turn around.
Yeah.
He's optimistic, at least.
Yeah, that's true.
And a hell of a guy.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time, man.
Hey, no problem.
We're not quite done anyway. We've got a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to say with my band Goat, I just recorded a new record.
Cool.
I went up to Skylark Park Studios in Pembroke with my producer friend. His name's Jordan Zadarozny. He's known for Blinker the Star, and his production is amazing. If anyone needs a producer or a studio, Skylark Park. I've been going up there for 20 years. He's a really good friend. I've released six Goat records, and every note has been recorded with Jordan, so check them out. And the new Goat album, it's called Gloat, will drop on December 27th.
Nice.
And a single called The Good Old Days is coming out on the 8th of December. I don't know when this podcast is going to come out, but it's sometime in December maybe. But even if it's after, that will be available. And the new Riptides record will be available in the spring. The band's going up to Colorado to the Blasting Room Studios to record the new record.
How cool is that?
We will really start picking up some steam come the spring, do some touring, and it's gonna be awesome. So my time of rest is coming to an end, but I'm gonna have a couple of lazy months in the winter. I think Ego and Vice. I just want to say thank you for all the guests that have come on. I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. Like I said, the more we are, the stronger the scene and the community. But I got my rest of the year booked for Ego and Vice, and then I think I'm taking January and February off because I usually do that every year because I get burnt out and I need a break. And my old saying is, "How can they miss you if you never go away?" So that's it. Oh,
and a good point.
This will probably be not relevant, but just in case, there's a show on December 8th at Avant-Garde. It's called the Ego and Vice Presents One Night Only Series number 3. Every year I put on an acoustic gig with local artists, and we raise money for the Ottawa Humane Society. So check that out. It's with myself, Ottoline, the Orleans Congressman, and also one of my best friends, Matt Luloff, and Class of 91 doing their very first acoustic gig. So
what?
Check out.
December 8th?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brock told me about it yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
today.
Today when we were talking to him?
Yeah.
That's a good pitch.
That was excellent.
Very cool.
What was album of the year?
Of 2023?
1991.
Oh. For me, that's a thought. Oh, man. I loved the Use Your Illusion records, but it's got to be a juggle between Nevermind and the Black Album for me. If it was if we're talking 91, and remembering when I was a kid, when Enter Sandman came on at the high school or the school dance pops, there was like a mosh and the teachers would lose it. So yeah, that was.
For me, it was it wasn't that year when the mosh pits were big, but Butterfly with Bullet for Butterfly Wings or whatever the smashing.
Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins song, and then we'd mosh to that, and people would lose their minds, teachers. So yeah, no, that 91 for me. I mean, obviously the Tribe Called Quest album's pretty up there for me, and Nevermind. I mean, Nevermind was such a good album.
Yeah.
And 10's. I mean, Pearl Jam's first album is like so good, so good.
I hate to admit it, but I was not listening to that. I was listening to
Tracy Byrd.
You got it, Tracy Byrd, and country. Mark Chestnut, Tracy Byrd, Alan Jackson. I was listening to 90s country then.
Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
I hate that song.
I know, I do too, actually.
Yeah.
When I worked at Lone Star,
it was that guy. Was that Alan Jackson?
He's still around.
It's like swimming in his millions, bro. He's just chilling.
That song, just because every party I played, there's certain songs that I had to play every time, and that was one. I just got so sick of that song. It's, he's got like 12 albums with a lot of really good stuff on it, right?
He does a great version of Murky Blues.
He does.
But Chattahoochee was the first song of the day at Lone Star every day. And I worked every day at Lone Star. And that was the first song I heard every day, usually hungover. And I wasn't really interested in listening to Chattahoochee.
No, I agree with you on that for sure. But there's a lot of good 90s country. But I don't just like that stuff that you guys were rhyming off and stuff. Those are amazing albums, talented individuals for sure.
Decent albums, yeah.
No, they were good.
They really brought in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, thanks so much for your time, man. Appreciate you. As you mentioned, it's a collaboration, not a competition. And let's blow it up, man. I love that you're putting out some new music as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be exciting.
Keep up with that.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you guys, and we should do it again down the road.
Yeah, we will.
We should do a live. We love the lives. They're fun to do.
Hey, that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun, for sure.
Okay, Mike. Thank you.
No problem.